Hello, and welcome back to Two Chairs, One Chat. We are your hosts, Derry Cox.
Rudolph Thurman.
Ready?
Hey, we back.
Yeah, we are. So happy to be back in the studio doing this again with you. First of all, thank God for another opportunity to come here to share our thoughts, our opinions, our suggestions, whatever you may. Really have to be thankful, and we are grateful for waking up.
Definitely very, very grateful for waking up. Always got to thank God. And we're just so happy to be here once again, doing what we love.
Yes. Running our mouths now.
Chatting in the chairs.
Chatting in the chairs. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Today's episode. But before I move right into today's episode, I wanted to say thank you for all your support, your love, your feedback, your comments, your lack of comments, everything. All appreciated, nevertheless. But and for those who have reached out and just for being there and being very supportive. We appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. And we're just trying to shine some light on some really important topics, and we will continue to do so as God permit us to do. We have a lot of things that we're discussing about future shows and stuff like that, that we will be sharing at some point. But today, we are talking about relationships. This is one of those topics, right?
Yeah.
We really have to,
it can really go there.
Yeah. So relationships not only about intimate relationships, intimate relationships with our friends, and not so friends, a whole host of things we're going to talk about that is included in relationship in this subject that we're talking about today. One of the questions is why relationship matters, right? I'm just going to read something I wrote here. Love is one of the most profound emotions known to human beings, right? There are many kinds of love, but many people seek its expression in a romantic relationship with a compatible partner or partners. For these individuals, romantic relationships comprise one of the most meaningful aspects of life and are a source of deep fulfillment.
Yes.
While need for human connection appears to be innate, the ability to form healthy, loving relationships is learned. There's some evidence that suggests that the ability to form a stable relationship starts to form in infancy, in a child's earliest experience with a caregiver who reliably meets the infant's need for food, care, warmth, protection, stimulation, and social contact. Such relationships are not destiny, but they are theorized to establish deeply ingrained patterns of relating to others. The end of a relationship, however, is often a source of great psychological anguish. And that's what I wrote of why relationships matter. We're gonna go through, a few things here on how to build a healthy relationship. We'll share our advice on how to find love. We'll talk about how relationships fail, the challenges relationships have, the resilience in relationships. Also, we're gonna touch on what are the core challenges that couples face? How do the most successful couples manage challenges? Can couples survive when one partner is more successful than the other? I'm getting a deja vu moment here. I think most of our topics intertwine with each other.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did we not talk about this before? But you know what? It's all pieces to the puzzle.
The topic is just something that can be so wide.
Yeah.
So it's you can understand how we can revisit a lot of things, but it's still very informative.
Yes. Another one is, how do long distance couples stay committed? Maybe, yeah. And facing infidelity. Also, does infidelity always means the end of a relationship? The other one is, why do partners cheat? Can couples overcome jealousy? And when partners are different, how do we manage certain things when, like, a man is older and a woman is older,
Right.
however? So we're all touching on that. So let's roll right into that.
Yeah.
How to build a healthy relationship.
Okay.
So maintaining a strong relationship requires constant care and communication. And certain traits have been shown to be especially important for fostering healthy relationships. Each individual should, for starters, feel confident that their partner is willing to devote time and attention to the other. They must both also be committed to accommodating their differences, even as those change over time, right? Good relationships are generally marked by emotional and physical fairness, particularly in the distribution of chores necessary to maintain a household. Partners in strong relationships also feel grateful for one another, openly provide and receive affection, and engage in honest discussion about sex, because that's a huge thing, right?
Course.
Partners sometimes tend to, like, ignore somewhat, the other's feelings,
Right.
and that's a huge topic.
Yeah. I agree.
In good relationships, partners try to afford their partner the benefit of the doubt, which creates a sense of being on the same team. This feeling, maintained over the long term, can help couples overcome the challenges they will inevitably face together. So,
Right.
what do you want to talk about? What do you want to say?
Well, let's say in terms of couples, right? I feel when you're stepping into a relationship, a lot of things should be put on the table, right? Like how you are, things that you expect as you're growing with the person, right? So as you're growing with the person, a lot of things, should be said. I think what goes wrong is sometimes people don't look at a lot of serious things, and they get together, for different reasons. They just see, like, the outer attraction, and then time just goes, and they don't realize that there's issues that they've been putting under the rug. So there's a lot of things that they're not really, discussing, and it's getting covered up by other stuff. And then when you hit that bump in the road, each other is looking at each other like, how did we get here? And I feel like you got there because a lot of things were ignored. Like, you have to express yourself in a relationship, not just the good things, the bad things. Be honest. Like, if there's something that you don't like, say it. If there's something that you really love, say it. Like, that is a part of the growing process. Let that person know that, instead of assuming that they're supposed to be
okay.
Yeah, like assuming that they're supposed to be a mind reader. And it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, we should be able to express ourselves freely in a relationship, because most of the times we get people, we're close, right? You're close with the person that you're seeing, and you're talking to your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever it is. And for me, honesty is a huge thing. Being able to communicate your feelings and express yourself. A couple years ago, I was a totally different person, but now that I know who I am, I will let you know how I feel. Sometimes I stifle things because I don't want to dwell on it, which is not good. It's not healthy, because then I'm being selfish and I'm not sharing with my partner, right? I'm not letting him know what I'm thinking, what's going on in my head, how I feel about certain things. But we all know we all have room to change and make some changes.
Yeah.
And it's best we deal with it. We have to deal with it if we want healthy relationships, And communication is
major key.
That was kind of like one of our first topics. We
yeah.
talk about being able to communicate, and it's needed, it's necessary to have a really healthy relationship
and to communicate effectively.
Yeah,
like, you know, be very clear, like, with what you're saying, like, you know, because sometimes you can communicate, but it's not clear, you know, and if there's a misunderstanding somewhere, you should be doing everything that you can possibly to make sure that you fix the misunderstanding. Because if someone is running with a misunderstanding and they're thinking that something it is, but it isn't, that's what they're going to stay with.
Yeah. I mean, how would they know? You know, they're not mind readers.
Right.
So it's good to take a step back.
Right.
Assess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always talk about assessing, and I love to assess myself. Like, yeah, what's going on here? Okay, so, you know, that's one of my advice to everyone out there that's listening. Assess yourself and be able, you know, communicate effectively with your spouse or your partner. Let them know what you're feeling. If you're feeling happy, you're sad, what thoughts you're having, regardless of what it is. Open and honest communication is very important. Also, open and honest communication when it comes to sex. People lie all the time. Like, right. You know, if you're not feeling it, say it.
Right.
If something it's not right for you, whatever the activity it is, when it comes to, you know, sex,
right.
With sex, you have to be open and honest. You can't be pretending that you're enjoying yourself when you're clearly not, and expect, you know, you just keep that inside. That damages you so much, because
that's a problem.
You can go outside and someone could easily touch you, and you get a different feeling, and then you want to do different stuff.
Right.
Okay, you want to step out, you want to step out of your relationship and all that stuff like that. So these are stuff that you need to bear in mind. You have to think about. You do not be selfish, and communicate with your partner. Let them know how you're feeling.
Yeah. I strongly agree with that. Like, that goes right back to the assuming, right? You can't, and I think sometimes there's situations where there's people out there where they just don't say anything because they probably look at it like, well, I don't want this person to feel bad, right? I don't, you know, it might be embarrassing, you know, like, to them. But if you're really in tune, you know, with that person, you might not say something. Now, you might, some people's different. Some people might say something in that moment, or some people might say something like after, like, hey, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, let's talk about this real quick. Because, you know, sometimes it's just not right. Like, what's happening and what happened to you, and you may feel some type of way, but it's best for you to be honest.
Right.
And that's why a good friendship is so important in a relationship.
We
are friends first before we are partners, before we are husband and wife or girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah.
We have to have that friendship. And I always say this, is like, my friends know me. So I'm straight up telling them how it is, because that's the relationship we have built, that we're open and honest. And that's the same thing I do with my personal relationship with the person I'm talking to. We are open and honest about most everything, you know, well, everything. Well, you know what it is, you know, that thing. But we strive on being open and honest with each other when it comes to sex, anything for that matter. Because at the end of the day, if you're building something with someone, you're not building it for just 2 years. You're looking for future, and you have to be able to communicate with them, let them know how you feel. They know your sexual desires. You both know what you guys like, what you enjoy, what you prefer, and it gives the relationship that extra thing that it needs.
That extra fire.
Yeah, that fire that keeps burning, because you're open to. The communication is open. You're open to discussing all sorts of things, you know, and then you just venture off into your own
why
world.
not? Like, why not discuss that, like, with the person that that you with, that you saying that you care for so
Yeah.
much, and you love, so much, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people out there that are just being lied to, or
just to make someone feel better, you're lying.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't want an argument today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the greatest. Yeah, you're the greatest.
So phony and
yeah, that's like
so dishonest.
Right.
But people do it. We're just trying. That's kind of like why we started doing all this, and this is actually one of the reasons why we decided to touch on this topic as well, because you need to be honest and open. We're hopeful that it sparks conversation between married people who just boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever it is, that you guys can reflect on your relationship and talk.
Right.
It's so good to talk. I don't know how I'll make it if I have a partner that is just shut off, like don't know how to communicate and just quiet about everything. I don't think I'll be that partner, because I really can't do it. I'm really big on being able to communicate my feelings and express myself, because growing up I think I had a muzzle on my mouth and I wasn't able to, so now I'm just running my mouth all the time with that
I think I can relate to that.
things that make sense. So that's basically why we started this whole podcast show, and how we try to dive into these different topics, or relationships, communication, or whatever.
Right.
So we're going to touch on how relationships fail. Every relationship represents a leap of faith for at least one partner. We're always, it's kind of like, and even in the happiest couples, the very traits that once attracted them to each other can eventually become annoyances that drive them apart. Acquiring the skills to make a connection last is hard work, right? And threats may spring up without notice. In short-term, casual relationships, neither partner may see a truly viable long-term future together, but often only one takes action, in some cases ghosting the other. Walking out of their lives with no communication, not even a text. Wow. So rude. And there's a lot of people that do that, and I don't have words for those. I don't have word for those kind of people. I mean, I guess some of them don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but people are going to be hurt more while you're not even saying, listen,
that format is wrong.
It's not going to work.
Right.
I thought, you were the answer. I thought, we can go somewhere, but it's definitely not going to work out that way. And I'm sorry. And move on. Instead of ghosting, it doesn't hurt to send a text.
Just be straightforward with that person. You know what? And I feel like if you had more examples of people doing that, yes, you're not hearing what you want to hear, but I feel like you could still take something from that you can make that person a stronger person, where it's like, all right, you know what? This person didn't string me along the entire time. They were honest.
Thank you for that.
Right. You was honest with me, and you told me exactly what it is. And you know what? Thank you, because now I don't have to continue and waste my time and thinking that you are the one when you're not looking at me the same way that I'm looking at you.
Yeah, that is true. Respect. You respect the person more when they do stuff like that. Let's talk about this connection and how it's hard work.
Connection?
Not connection in a way, but like relationships and how it is work. It's consistent work.
Yes.
It doesn't stop when you get comfortable with one another. It just doesn't stop there. It's commitment, right? A relationship is a commitment, and with that commitment, you have to be committed,
right.
to working hard, to make sure that you keep the fire burning, keep the flames going. Fall in love with that special person over and over again is one of the most amazing things. Yeah. Right?
Because think of, not to cut you.
But cut me.
But just think about the effort that a person put in when they were just getting with you. Yeah. Right? Like this person will go above and beyond and everything. And I think for some relationships, not all, but for some relationships, people get to a point where it's like, okay, I got her, or I got him, right? And it's like they kick up their feet and they don't feel like the same effort has to be put in like anymore. And that's where things go wrong. Like, you know, if you was going hard like in the beginning, you know, to get with that person, and that was the things that had
you were attracted to.
Yeah, that was attracted to.
Yeah.
Now, if you take those elements away, aren't you taking the attraction away? Mm-hmm. Because that's what they saw, like in the beginning. So now you become another person when you no longer doing like those things.
So we can say in both ways, men, you better keep chasing because it is what it is, and you're going to do that. And ladies, don't get comfortable and feel that you don't have to. Take care of yourself. You know, spice it up. Do some random stuff and spice it up. Like, it doesn't stop because you got the man, you know, or for wives and for husbands. Like, you don't stop chasing your mate. Women, don't get comfortable and stop, you know, trying to take care of your husband and wear your nice lingerie once in a while. You know what I'm talking about.
Right,
like,
right.
Don't stop doing those things, right? I think it's so beautiful when a fire can continue to flame up like over years. That is like that right there is strength, right? And that comes from being able to communicate properly, not getting comfortable with, oh, I got the man or I got the woman.
Yeah.
Like, for me, you're gonna stay chasing.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and I'm gonna make sure that I will do my best, because sometimes we don't always have those days where we feel like doing anything. We just want to not do anything.
Correct.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we know that when you get married and stuff like that, you know, people's lives, you know, you got your job and you got this, I'm working on this, you're working, you know, he's working on that, whatever the case is. But we have to find the time to spend the time, make it a priority. Make date nights like crazy, like we're going out, like you dressing up like the way you dressed before when I met you, and I saw you in that restaurant. I want you to see, you know, dress that same way. Pretend you now getting to know that person, and we can always do that over and over, and make it so different, and make it interesting, and make it something that we like to do. Like, we love to do that, right? So don't change. Like, for me, that's my advice. Don't change. Don't get comfortable. I don't like when I hear, because I have a lot of friends, male friends that are married, and, you know, they will confide in me like, oh, she changed and she's doing, you know, she's not the same. And so for the ladies that are listening to me, don't switch up on the man. Like, you know, it's kind of like those things lead to other things. And before it leads to other things, and you getting upset because, you know, your partner may be drifting away or whatever the case may be, you have to know that where all that is coming from. And while we can say to people that you made a promise to me, you also made a promise to me, right? So it takes two. It takes two to keep working at it.
Right.
It's not only one person that's going to do it. Both of you got to be involved. Both people got to be involved in making sure that that relationship becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and reach for it. You know what I'm saying? Reach for that strong relationship. Your friend, my guy, like my buddy, my best friend.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it takes work. But if you want it, you can have it. Like everything else.
Yeah, I feel like otherwise you're gonna be together, but not together.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's like on paper it will, you know, you'll see that the people are together, but it's like, but in spirit, like, you know, we separate. You know, and it's that's a problem.
Yeah. Prayers work, but prayers without works is dead. So while you can pray all you can pray all the time about your relationship and stuff like that, you have to work. You have to work on it and work to make it better. And so
you're right.
What are the core challenges that couples face, right? Relationship turbulence theory suggests that ongoing exposure to polarizing experiences such as jealousy, goal blocking, closed communication, avoidance of difficult topics, and taking conflict personally can cause a couple's connection to deteriorate. Identifying these potential crises early and speaking about them openly can save a relationship. The jealousy part, where you jealousy a partner, maybe they're doing something they love,
right,
and you're happy but you're not too happy. That can hurt. That can hurt a relationship.
Of course. Close
communication, like we were just talking about. If you're closed off and you're not open with your spouse about how you're feeling.
Right.
There's a lot of depressed people also in marriages, and they don't want to do nothing. They don't want to go nowhere. That is something else.
Yeah, it's not fair on the other person, because it's like, what do you expect your partner to do, right?
Well, I would cut and say what I expect. This is why we talk about depression the last time, and sometimes we're not able to recognize when we see it. That's why we list a whole host of things you can look out for to see if someone is depressed. I know at the same time it's not fair to the other partner,
right?
But that's why we start with the friendship. You kind of like would start to see how different they're becoming, or they're not doing certain things, and then you're kind of like, oh, I think my husband have a problem, or I think my wife has a problem, and try to help them. That's basically what it is to be in a relationship and to have a commitment where you can see changes in people if you're paying attention.
Of course.
Because a lot of people don't pay attention.
Right.
They're all asleep. Everybody's asleep.
Everybody's asleep.
Wake up.
Oh, man.
So how do most successful couples manage challenges? The most important factors that determines whether a couple can survive challenges to their relationship, research suggests, is simply whether they believe they can. Partners who are confident that they will stay together no matter what conflicts arise, and who believe they have the skills to maintain their connection, are much more likely to stay together for the long term. You have to be able to work it out. Like you're open. Again, open, honest communication with your partner. Life has trials, and you're faced with them. Either sometimes you're faced with them collectively together, or it's just separately. And we have to, prayers, of course, and also communication. And are we going to be able to get through certain things that we're faced with? Right? And it really tests the strength of a relationship when you're hit with trauma and all kinds of things that are going on. It really tests the relationship.
Surely does.
Yeah.
Surely does. I mean, you touched on something about jealousy, right? And you was talking about, one person doing something and you're not being as supportive. You're probably jealous of them. I feel like sometimes that comes from a place where they might have something in their life that they wanted to do, right? And they wasn't able to execute the same amount of drive that they see that you have right now, right? So they're like, wow, you're so driven, you're really doing it. So they weren't able to find that. So it's like there's a problem there. You love that person, but it's like it's bothering you. It's causing you to be jealous that you see in them doing something that they really love. It's not about you in that moment. What you should do is take that same energy that you're putting in a bad place and put it in a place to support that person that's doing something that they told you that they love, right? They're doing something that they love, right? So are you going to be my support? Or are you just going to be, that person that just going to let things bother you?
Well, to touch on the person that's letting things bother them, I think that they have to work on themselves.
Of course.
Because there's something there that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because you can't say I love you to someone and be jealous in them in any form.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't make sense. Because love and jealousy, you can't just say that.
It shouldn't combine together, but
it shouldn't, but it does. It's happened, and unfortunately we do have to cut and continue on with this episode. We started talking about relationships and we're not done.
We're not.
So we will be back for another episode of the topic relationship on Two Tiers One Chat. I am Derry Cox.
Rudolph Thurman.
Who's chatting in the cheers?
We are.